on that. I think that's a fair thing to say. What we will see in game number 1 today for Hera and Vinchester, this is the round of 8 of the KillerB's Arabia Cup. These two guys will enter the first game with an opportunity at the 4 and 5 seed to punch their ticket to the live semifinals on Sunday. These guys are really equally matched, and that's why I saved them for the very end of the day. I expect this to be a really tightly contested set of games. Right off the bat, I can see that our friend Hera, who's playing as Jacquen, I don't know how to say that, but we'll call him Hera in the green, is, as the Saracens, not at a very good position civ-wise. I guess you can build camels if your opponent, as the Franks, wants to go into some knights, so it's maybe not a critically bad position, but maybe you ask for a re in this situation as green. I would, but that's just my humble opinion. The green player will have gold and stone off to the right side of his base. He will have a back wood line that's quite nice. Wood line off to the left side isn't bad either. And I think he can probably wall this map in pretty nicely. I think the wood lines are thick enough.
Look at that thick wood. Oh, that's not running out anytime soon.
Be careful what you say on stream, guys. You might get captured onto the KillerB's soundboard. That is obviously the beautiful and talented, beautiful again, Zero Empires. We'll have Zero Empires on as a co-cast at 16 GMT tomorrow to cast the 3rd place match. So I hope you guys are pumped for those live games tomorrow. Green player is powering down some sheep, getting everything in on his map started, just scouting around on his side, no forward attempt to lame from him. Vinchester on the other side is playing in the yellow trunks as the Franks. Ooh, bit of an unfortunate sheep kill, I would say, but not that big of a deal. Only killed 1. Yellow player is going to have 4 villagers on the front wood line, is pushing in a couple of deer, has a gold pile off to the right side, berries up in the north, and a stone pile in the north. Pretty open map for Vinch. He certainly is not going to be able to wall in the left side, but we'll see. Franks are a pretty fast civ, so if you wanted to go quickly into scouts, he probably doesn't have too much to worry about as long as he can get a spear out to defend his side. Deer pushing for Vinch is nice, says Plu Crew. Yeah, man. Get a couple deer under the TC. Always helps out in the early game. Let me say thanks to you guys for all of the follows. Our most recent follow is Prince1112001, and our most recent biddies were from Waffle Jaw. Thanks, everybody. And we got a sub from Flacatelli. I hope that I did not miss too many subs and too many things today, but you'll have to accept my apologies. Since I'm trying to cast these games with another person, it's always tough. But here in the last game, it's just little old me and my little soundboard. Vinch is still able to kill 1 sheep at a time. Good on him. He's not going to let his opponent in the green Hera steal any of those sheep. Of course, laming is in full effect in this tournament. What I should say, since it's game 1, and maybe some people just joined on, is that this is a 1v1 best of 5 single elimination tournament. And players will be able to re in this tournament. And if you get a re, you get a new civ. So you can always ask for a re if you have one in the bank. Each player has 2. And if your opponent allows it, you get a new civ. So if you get a civ disadvantage, you can find a way out of it. 1 time per set, though, players will be able to veto a re and make their opponent play through with a bad civ. So, for instance, in this case, if at 4 minutes our player Hera said, I don't like Saracens, I want to re, Vinchester could have said, I veto your re. I'm going to make you play this game even though you called for a restart. That was not the case. Both guys are willing to play this one on, so we will play on with them. Barracks coming down for the green player now, sending a villager out to gold. Could be a drush from him. On the yellow side of things, Mr. Vinchester is still luring in that second boar. Hera is here to try to lame this Vil. Got to get out in front of him. Hera might be able to do it. We'll take a couple arrow shots from the TC. Boar was not hitting that Vil as I think he should have. I think maybe a little bit of a lucky play there from Vinch. I think that boar should have killed the Vil, but maybe that's just my eyes. It's pretty late in the day. We've been live for about 8 hours, so I could totally be wrong about that. But that poor boy, that poor little villager, did make it home on 4 HP. I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. Just a poor boy, nobody loves him. Okay, Vinchester is going loom on 21 Vils. Looks like he's going to go up, adding in a second wood line. Did push a couple of deer, does have his boars, does have all of his sheep. So Vinch here is going to be totally fine to go scouts if he wants to. It's his party. He can go scouts if he wants to. Feudal Age coming for him. On the other side of the map, it is Hera, who's going to have 3 militia coming out of the barracks right meow. We'll see those 3 militia rolling forward. It is a true drush for our friend Hera, who's dropping down a second farm and is not over on his gold pile. But look at Vinch here. Vinch is pausing for a moment there, and undoubtedly he is checking the gold piles to see if any of them are missing 10 gold. That is a very common thing for pros to do. And of course, Vinchester, seeing the score differential, does not see the barracks, but he does see that 10 gold missing. I think he can surmise that there's going to be men-at-arms all up in his grill pretty soon. Barracks coming down for the for the yellow player Vinchester. He's slowly working his way up to feudal. Will quick wall in his woodline and should be fine to deal with the drush. Just has to do it, just has to quick wall a little bit more and he should be fine. Feudal age should come, and we should see a stable for the player in yellow. And for now, the Saracens player looks to be going, ooh, the drush actually does land a little bit. Interesting. Vinch had a lot of time to wall that up, but he could not quite get the job done. Now the drush will at least annoy that wood line a little bit. Let's see. Blue Crew is a great French chess player. Oh, okay. Did not know that. And I'm definitely not pronouncing it right, so my apologies on that. The Frank scouts with a couple extra HP. Still just 1 initial scout out for the yellow player, but a second stable is coming down, and he's going to overwhelm this position soon. Hera is just trying to get as much eco-annoyance in as he can. I don't think he really stands a good chance at killing a Vil here, but he could go for it. Ultimately, I think it's just buying a little bit of time so that back at home, our player in green can get something rolling. Feudal Age is still coming in for Hera quite... it feels like it's so late, but of course, he's up on 23 Vils. We will immediately see an archery range from him, and probably a second range very shortly, since Hera had those couple extra Vils chopping wood for a little bit longer. So soon Vinch will clean this up, but this is all part of the master plan of Hera, and we'll have to see if Vinch can get across the map in a decent amount of time to get in some damage. So for now, we've got men-at-arms actually rolling in for green. Did not actually expect that, but that is the case. We'll see those men-at-arms upgraded in just a moment. A few of them are a little bit attenuated, but they're mostly still strong on their feet. So we'll see what they can get in. There's a chance that they pick a Vil here. There is a chance, but I guess we'll have to find out. A little bit of damage coming in the north. Those men-at-arms are putting some pressure on the Vils. I did not see... Oh, I do see a dead villager there. Yellow player Vinch losing 1 Vil in the scrum, and he will clean everything up, including the scout, but 1 villager behind will be Vinch. So Hera gets a Vil. He gets his double ranges down at home. He gets his archer production going. Does have a blacksmith on the way as well. Will wall in the entire side of his map if he can, if Vinch gives him enough time, and will try to defend with an initial spear. So a good position so far for Hera. I wouldn't say he's like super far ahead, but if he can defend against Vinch's scouts, he's probably going to be in a nice position in the mid-feudal age. On the other side, Vinch sustained a villager kill, but he does have a standing army now, and maybe these first 3 scouts can run straight in and grab some villager somewhere. Maybe this guy, he's even weak. So maybe we look for that lumberjack to get knocked down. Anyway, quick walling for Hera is denied. Vinch is going to stand on top of that wall. Vinch will not grab that villager as she heads to safety into home, but he will grab the villager next to it. Her poor little sister there gets knocked down. Yellow player's still roaming around looking for more damage, and we've got a really great equal match so far. Very equal match so far, in my humble opinion. We'll see Vinchester with the higher score number, but I think that all in all, it's quite similar. Of course, the green player, the more time that he gets, will eventually have fletching, and will have this army that's a little bit scarier than the army of scouts that Vinch has. Meanwhile, Vinchester back at home, adding in a couple of skirms, is taking a little bit of gold from his gold pile, the long-distance route at the moment at least, but I think we'll see a mining camp soon. Blacksmith coming down for Vinchester, and Vinchester is going to, he's going to think about clicking up soon. I mean, he just needs a little bit more gold in the bank to do it. We'll have a couple skirms to defend. If he can hold Hera off, then Vinch is probably in a fine position to try to, a little villager pick maybe in the back here. Vinch might be in a fine spot as he picks another villager. As long as he can defend against Hera's initial archer push, I think Vinch can be okay. Sending a lot of vills to gold will take him a while to get the gold economy rolling. Hera on the other side is much more interested in production. He's got a lot of spears. Oh, Vinch is standing ground with those scouts, taking a little damage. Hera's got a lot more archers and spears coming out, so he will have potential to do offensive damage. But a quick tower from Vinchester, and I think this position is fine. Hera grabs a vill. Vill counts are 33 apiece. Both guys can return to their respective corners, and this game is pretty much dead even at this point, just with Vinchester probably clicking up to castle earlier. So maybe Hera wants to get a little bit more damage. Maybe he's a half step behind in this particular match. So, thanks guys for tuning in. Thanks for the new followers. I guess we got Alper Inisic. You have a tough name, but I do appreciate you hanging out. Thanks everybody who joined the channel today. Always good to have new followers. Always good to have viewers here to chat with as we roll through some matches. It's been a huge batch of Arabia games. It's been a really crazy long day. We're about 8 hours in already. And of course, we do have just game number 1 of this set. It is a best of 5, so it could be a little while longer. I hope I could provide you guys some good entertainment. But I would be lying to you if I told you that I wasn't getting pretty tired at this point in the day. Anyway, green players roaming around in the north of the map, looking to get in some damage with his archers. Vinchester did get down an outpost so that he can defend his side, and he'll see those archers coming from about a mile away. However, there's nothing here to stop those units, so at least Hera can get some good idle time from his opponent. Yellow player on the other side is diving in a little bit with the skirms, and those skirmishers for now, well, they're fighting the tower, but ultimately they could get in here and annoy this eco a bit. Zach saying the Viper lost 7-0. He lost this best of 5, 7-0. Poor Viper, poor Viper. Castle Age coming now for Vinchester. Stable coming up for him as well. Scale Barding armor will come in, and the Franks player will have 2 stables to go along with a range, pumping a few skirms here and there. Vinch should be fine to go double stable knights and put down some damage, but he's going to have to get it done kind of soon because his opponent will have a stable as well. And of course, the Saracens player can try to defend with some camels if he clicks up. Hera does need to click up to the next stage, of course, pretty soon. He's going to be unhappy if Vinch is up so much earlier than him. Hera in the north of the map, still hanging around with those archers, staying hidden from his opponent and waiting for his moment to strike. Very Viper-esque, I suppose, waiting for the right moment to strike in and inject all that venom. Hera, by the way, is streaming a good bit now, so you guys should check out that channel on Twitch. Vinch does stream from time to time. I don't get to catch him much, but maybe Vinchester is streaming regularly. Maybe I'm just on a different time zone than him. But both of these guys could be streaming their games tomorrow. Whoever advances, or even whoever loses, could be casting, I guess. So look forward to that. Vinchester has found these couple of archers in the north of the map. Very interesting that he found the green player there. Hera was hiding in the fog of war for so long, but Vinchester zeroes in and gets a really great engagement on those units. Granted, knights would be coming anyway to probably clean this up pretty easy, but really efficient engagement from Vinch, who's on the way to chain barding armor, has a couple knights out already, and our player in yellow is going to have 14 military on the map. He's nicely cleaned up Hera's army in the north. Hera does have a couple of units at home, a couple of archers. Castle Age is still ticking in slowly for green, and the green player here is going to quickly wall up what he can of his map. So Hera is a bit behind as far as having spent the stone. He's not going to get another TC soon. He's also going to have to maybe build a few camels here to get his situation kind of figured out as Vinch starts to come forward with knights. Vinch will also have a forward vill, so we might expect to see a siege workshop from that little yellow villager. So soon enough, this game will heat up as both guys hit the Castle Age, and we will check out how this game goes as we roll on. We will see if this game heats up into quite a Dusenheimer of a match. The yellow player is, as we said, up for a little while, sending forward those knights. There is a siege workshop in the middle of the map, and we will see Vinch taking over a little bit of territory. Camels coming out for the player in green, and we will see probably a just fine defense from Hera. Hera's got a TC on the way. That's going to be his second. On the yellow side of things, we have just a 1 TC play for now. No wood in the bank for our yellow player. Does have a little bit of stone to work with. So camels and knights start to roll out, and this game does continue to roll forward. Knights from the yellow player Vinch looking to get into this eco, but Hera will quick wall up the back edge, and I don't think the knights can do too much. Camels ultimately should be able to hold this side. So a nice quick uptime from Vinch, a nice army from Vinch, but not any real damage just yet. No damage landed to this point yet. So we will continue to roll through this match. It does look like a bit of a stalemate for a moment here. Hera's wall should protect him nicely. He's also got a lot of crossbows hanging out in these ranges, or archers rather. Forging on the way for both players. We will see a monastery in the middle of the map for Vinch. And I guess we'll see if Vinch can get in damage before Hera starts to out mass produce villagers on him. Our yellow player is still on 1 TC. So we'll see if the Siege Workshop investment pays off. We shall see. We shall see. For now, the camels are roaming around, maybe looking to pick a mangonel in the near future, but not quite the right moment for them to engage. We do have Hera with a couple of archers coming out still, but they are still archers, interestingly enough. He's spent a lot of resource on camels, and he spent a lot of resource on getting a second TC and villager production going. The top of this hill is a really nice place for our player Vinchester to push from. And maybe Hera can break this soon, maybe not. Looks like Hera's going to go and try to take out the reinforcing monks in mangonels. Sneaking in from behind, Hera is looking for the right moment. The monks wololoing away, and we will see a unit converted, question mark? Yeah. One camel converted already. Hera will focus down the mango, and he will get the knights now out of dodge. So Hera still can't really stop Vinch's engagement, but he did slow it down a little bit there with a little bit of damage. Crossbowmen will put some damage down on these units, killing a knight and a couple of whatever that was on the front, skirms, I don't know. We'll see camels following this up from behind at some point in the future, but once again, Hera has kind of run to the north of the map to hide a couple of units, waiting for his moment to strike. It's a good position for Vinch. He's just a couple villagers behind, and he does have a lot of potential on top of this hill to keep this rolling. We do not see another mango coming just yet, but we do see monks continuously streaming to this area, and Vinchester is diving in. Vinch is diving in. Hera's going to hang out under his TC and pop out a few camels, and then Vinch is going to get out of dodge. I thought there might be a potential for those units, those knights, to get in and damage this position, but it's certainly not going to be the case. A little bit of quick walling from Hera as well, so that Vinch is very, very convinced not to try to dive in and do anything too much. But we will see this game roll forward. Vinch still has the ticking clock. Frank's player has done some nice damage. He will take out a little bit more production. Hera has really yet to get so many villagers ahead that we would call it significant. It's a 2 villager advantage or 4 villager advantage for the player in green. So, all right, the top of that hill is going to be a great position to launch attacks from. Vinchester has not added a second mango. Now he is. Second mangonel on the way. Monk will grab a convert on one of the camels, and that mangonel will escape with his life. The other mangonel did not get great damage on Hera's group of crossbows. Hera was able to snipe that down. Ultimately, this is still an okay position for Hera, but of course, this hill in front of his base has been a point of contention for a long time. Hera continues to get annoyed by Vinch's aggression, and Vinch continues to stay somewhat close on villager count. I do spy a new TC for Vinchester, so he's going to have villager production to stay equal with Hera from now forward. Hera is still hanging out in the back of his eco with a couple of crossbows, a bunch of crossbows and a couple of camels. Third TC coming for the player in green, and I think that it is going to be quite okay for Hera. Hera's been playing as Jaquin. I don't know how to say this name, but this is his new main account. It's not a Smurf. This is his name. Yeah, but you guys probably know this player as Hera. He's been playing for a long time at a high level. He's one of these guys that seems to he can disappear for a few weeks and not play any games and then just come back as good as if he's in totally fresh top condition. So I do expect to see a lot of great things from Hera. Vinchester is a guy who is incredibly good at rising to the occasion. We've seen him in the Masters of Arabia series in the past years have great success. It doesn't matter if his opponent is higher rated than him. Vinchester just plays great when the chips are down on the table. It seems to have nerves of steel, so I do expect this to be an extremely hotly contested game. Hera wants to climb the hills with camels. Vinchester is going to grab a convert, I suppose, or maybe two. And for now, Hera is going back and waiting for his moment to climb the hill. If we look at the resources, it is Hera with 100 food, 100 gold. It is our player Vinch with about the same in the bank. Neither guy's floating anything. Neither guy's clicking up terribly soon. Both players are on 70 total villagers. So Vinch has this hill. He wants to hold this hill. He is going to go to crossbowman now. He is going to continue to have 3 mangoes on the hill. For now, that is going to be it. It is a couple of knights, a bunch of monks, and it's a pretty difficult position for Hera to break. Jaken Higar, says Krymata. Thanks. Thanks for that. Always difficult for me to pronounce any name. We Americans, we are not very good at any other language. Unfortunately, we just speak that English. I'm learning a little bit of Swedish, but it is still pretty rickety. I can tell when an old lady comes up to me at the bus stop what she's saying, so it's a start. She's asking me about what the next bus is. Anyway, green player Hera is going to get a castle up, or he's going to try to. Did lose a vill or two to Mangonel Fire, but Hera's coming in from all sides with camels. Vinch does not have what it takes to stop this. Vinchester got a couple converts, but Hera has been waiting in the wings for this moment to strike. Hera's green camels there are maybe a little hard to see, so let's all G this, and let's just see that the red player, well, he's got a good number of camels. They are slowly whittling down the knights. Now that the Mangonels are dead, we will see Hera climb the hill and put down even more damage, and I don't think Vinch can hold this hill anymore. Vinch can't hold a candle to this group of crossbows, so he is going to have to go back a little bit. Castle position for Hera is probably a necessary position. It does solidify him a lot. Vinchester with 500 food, 500 gold. And the guy on the other side, Mr. Hera, is a little bit behind that as far as resources goes, but does have another town center coming on the front. That will be 4 TCs for the Saracens player, who's on 80 villagers now. He's happy to take over this important hill in front of his base, and I think it's a conscious decision if you're playing as Hera here to take a moment to, all right, I need to win this hill. I need to win the forward resources. My opponent, sure, he's going to click up to Imp first. There will be an awkward moment for me, but it's more critical, I think, for Hera to try to hold this hill for a little while. We'll see if he can do that. For now, it is a couple of units in the ranges in the form of crossbows for Vinchester. Vinchester also bringing in Mangonel to try to put some more pressure on. Quite a nice matchup here for game 1 of this series. It's the 4 and the 5 seed, so you would expect this to be the most intense game, most close game. And so far, so good. I think it's anybody's game to win, as Vinchester clicks Imp, as we might have expected. Of course, Hera's going to have an extra TC, I think, but let's do a quick TC count. Looks like 3 TCs for Vinch, and I believe it is 4 for Mr. Hera. So, Hera will have an extra TC. He will solidify an important hill, but Vinchester will come again with more aggression. That aggression, though, is not going to be. He's not going to be all the way. He's not going to be up to Imp at a super early time compared to Hera. It's going to be 30 seconds. Actually, not a big deal at all. I thought it would be a lot more than that. For now, Vinch is going to try to get more siege workshops going on the front. The Franks player is not building more knights that I can see. I don't see a whole lot of stables, just the 2. It has been a transition of units into Frank crossbows, which. Okay, how often do you see a Franks player going into crossbows? Not that often. But Hera is going to go for it, or rather Vinch is going to go for it for a couple of minutes here. Crossbowman production for our player in blue. The Franks crossbows are a sneaky OP unit. Well, no, they're not, but we'll see if Hera can hold the line with these couple of crossbows. There is still damage coming in on the TC. I don't think Hera should end up losing that, but it's possible. There's a chance. Blue player on the right side of the map, Mr. Vinch, did get in and take down Vil, who was building up something, maybe a university. But at the end of the day, the Knights are cleaned up. I'm surprised not to see more knights here. I'm surprised to see Imperial Age coming and ballistics coming, but okay. Well, maybe not imp, but maybe ballistics. Hera will go for thumb ring. The Saracens player is going to be a few moments behind up to imp. 2 castles already down for the guy in red, Mr. Hera, and he can build some Mamelukes. He could build some Trebs, but at the moment it is just going to be more archery ranges. Well, Hera's still waiting for the upgrade. We will see the castles right away, not doing too much. First, Bracer and Chemistry will come in, and our Saracens player will continue to hold the line. Hera here is just trying to stay alive. Staying alive. Just gotta stay alive here. We will see a market up on the right side for Mr. Hera, and we'll see Vinch continue to push on top of the hill. Vinch is going Onager, Vinch is going Chemistry. Vinch is going to try to keep up the pressure. 2 relics in the bank for the player in blue, and his mangonels have been working away at trying to knock down this TC for quite some time. So, okay, bunch of Frank crossbows, why not? Why not? Feels right. If it feels good, do it. It will be 96 Vils for Vinchester. It will be 106 Vils for Hera. Vinch is over on stone. He is going to be able to drop one of those Frank castles pretty soon. Might be a good... Oh, he did drop a castle already up here. Another one might be coming soon to maybe solidify this middle area even further. I suppose we'll see. Neither player has really expanded out to the far reaches of the map. Both guys are really mostly taking resources in the middle of their base. Maybe you could argue that this is a little expansion. But mostly, it is a story of one player trying to bludgeon down the front of his opponent's base, and the other guy just trying to stay alive. Hera is going to lose that TC. I don't think it's a critically bad position for him. We will see camels continuing to come out, but it is Arbalest for the most part that are the plan. On top of that hill, Hera is going to have 8 range. The Onagers, of course, are going to have 8 range as well. So Vinch is going to go Scale Mail Armor. He's going to go Pikeman. Interestingly, Vinch is transitioning for a unit that isn't coming yet, but maybe he's thinking that his opponent will add some camels. For now, Vinch has this game in a really nice position. Knocks down the TC, knocks down the tower. I don't think Hera can stop this Treb, so for a while, we will have to see Hera just kind of hang on. Hera is going to have a couple of cannons out. He's first going to focus down Vinchester's couple of ranges. So we will see that area is starting to get knocked on by the red player, who is adding in a couple of, just 1 BBC so far to go with his Arbalest. The bombard cannons, of course, will do nice to outrange the Onagers, but Vinchester is ready with an answer. He's got 12 range bombard cannons as well. Let me say thanks. I just saw a big donation coming in. Oh, baby. Jerry Maguire, why not? Thank you to Titanium for a huge donation. Thank you very much. Titanium says, thanks for the KBAC. Hey, thanks for being here. Almost a huge Onager shot there for Mr. Vinchester. Hera does take a couple glancing blows as he gets out of here. Hera's he's gonna have trouble keeping this castle up. I don't see a whole lot of options for him. His Arbalest are kind of over a barrel when it comes to the Onagers, and his cannons are matched by cannons from Vinchester as well. So Vinch may be able to knock down this castle. We'll have to see. Crossbowmen from Vinch, such a strange thing to see from a Franks player, but so far they have done a pretty decent job to hold the hill. Cannons from Hera are still microing around, dipping and dodging, trying to knock down those Onagers from distance when they can. Actually, pretty good micro from Hera, grabbing a second Onager, and now maybe able to micro up the hill a little bit to maybe grab the trap. So Hera's doing pretty well, but ooh, just dodging Onager shots by a smidge. So far, he has played with fire and has not totally gotten burned. There's been some good Onager blows here, but you can see that Vinchester's Onagers are suddenly missing from the scene, and it is going to be Hera's attempt, or Hera's chance, to not only keep the castle up, but kill these couple of Trebs and push Vinchester back. So an extremely important engagement in the middle of the map. Hera, for about 20 minutes of game time, maybe more, has been just staying alive on this hill. But now he's ready to push out. He's ready to make something out of this. He's got a couple of bombard cannons. He's still keeping those onagers at arm's length. His arbalests have taken some blows, but they are going to be reinforced now by some soon-to-be elite skirmishers. The player in red, Hera, is adding in a couple more archery ranges to try to bolster his army production. It will be 128 Vils for Hera. It will be 109 for Vinch. Vinch will have 4 relics. Vinch will have enough for a couple castles here in a moment. And Vinch will have a good bit of food in the bank. We can hear that he's adding some more stables, and it will be light cav with plate barding armor for Vinch. So Vinch is on the back foot, but he does have some stone. Maybe he can hold his position with some defensive castles. Hera is rolling in his direction, and boy, Vinch would love to have a little bit more gold to work with. Interestingly, Vinch does have more gold to work with. He's just barely not scouted it. Right beside his base. He's scouted a lot here. He can see a lot of this map, but he is just a couple panels away from being able to see that extra gold pile. That really hurts. That would really be a wonderful resource for him to have. You might love in this situation to be able to build a couple of Cavalier as the Franks player, but without gold, it's just not a possibility. So Vinch will continue to lose a little ground. Hera will continue to use those cannons to full effect. We'll see Hera just on 30 military, though. This position can be overwhelmed with the right army composition. Maybe even the light cav in a decent number could do it. For now, those light cav are going to roam to the south, and we will see the blue player Vinch is going to run right into the back of Hera's eco. So Vinch is going to get some damage in here. Oh, baby. These villagers are going to get absolutely chewed up and spit out. There is no reprieve for them. Clandestine mining camp off to the right side with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. Talk about those villagers. Oh, man, I hope they wrote some letters to their families in the past few days because they're not making it home. Red player Hera continues to do damage on the front. He continues to be uncontested, I guess, in the middle of the map after knocking down the castle from Vinch. But Vinch's raiding feels really, really nice. Blast Furnace coming for both guys. They're continuing to beef up their melee units, and we are probably going to see transitions toward trash as we are 50 minutes into the game. And of course, you want to be able to flesh your army out with something. There is gold up in the north of the map, though, and 2 golds, actually, that Hera could grab. From his point of view, we can see that new gold pile that his outpost has revealed. We cannot see this one on the left. Vinch doing a little flyby like a group of F-15 Raptors with this group of light cav. They will circle back. They always do, and they will probably grab these villagers down for free. In the meantime, big engagement in the center of the map. Hussar upgrade is in for Hera. Hera is going to hold the middle of the map with a guard tower. A lone guard tower in the middle of the map, a couple of arbalests, and a whole bunch of cannons. These cannons right now they're really out in the open. They are going to be able to snipe buildings ultra quick. They are going to be able to put down damage quick. Whew, look at that. Huge, huge group of shots there from Hera. But boy, they are really exposed. There's not that many arbs to defend this. Hera, nonetheless, gets a couple good shots, and it's all good in the hood. Does also clean up the light cav raiding from Vinch, and Hera continues to roll forward. I like the position of this house. It made it a little bit harder for our player in blue Vinch to get to those cannons. Cannons from Hera are still in 6. In the number 6, they are guarded in the front by arbalest and by skirms, and we still don't see a lot of knights from Vinch because, well, of course, Vinch doesn't know about this gold, and he can't really afford to do anything other than trash. Vinch has some trash. He does have a couple of cannons and a couple of monks. It's not as though his gold economy is gone. I would guess, his gold economy is actually gone. Oh boy. That surprises me a bit. We still have 17 gold miners for Hera, but Vinch does not have any gold eco, and now he just lost his 4 relics. So the momentum is probably going to swing toward Hera in a pretty violent way. Again, this goal is probably the one that got away. If this game turns into a loss, maybe Vinch will see that goal at the end and be a little bit annoyed. But there's still some fight left in Vinchester. He's going to try to climb the hill with trash. There's a lot of arbalests and skirms here. He'll get a cannon or 2, maybe, in the scrum. But for now, the 5 BBCs continue to breathe. 3 of them left now. Another guard tower may be coming soon for Hera. It's a slow grind forward on top of this hill. Light cav coming in aplenty. We will see actually a pretty overwhelming reinforcement of this hill from Vinch, and maybe he can win it back. Hera, though, has been waiting in the wings, literally the wings, with a bunch of winged hussar, and they are going to roam in and actually win the day. Not sure why Vinch, or rather Hera, didn't have those running in sooner. They were kind of grouping up over here, but all of a sudden, a dozen Hussar show up to the fight, and, well, they do kind of flip this thing into the favor of our player, Hera. So we'll continue to roll through this game. We'll see another TC added in on the left of the map for the player in red, Mr. Hera. We'll see him not seeing that gold off to the side. Of course, we all know Vinch is missing that other gold. I won't continue to poke the bear on that one. Arbalest production continues for Hera. He's going to have 19 gold miners, so he can keep Arb production going for a while. And he'll have a little bit of siege to go along with it. Defensive castle coming down for Vinch. Vinch is going to have still some resource in the bank to work with. Not a ton of anything to go on, but maybe he can find a little more stone to get one more castle at some point here in the game. Vinch is taking a little bit of wood up in the north of the map, also building up a little bit of production there. Vinch has found a little stone, but Hera is not going to let him have it for free. Oh yeah, we could definitely do that, Scar. That would be cool. Get a little Sabaton in the mix. This TC is on 45%, and it may not even make it to 60%, but it's still the right time for this.
They've done studies, you know. 60% of the time, it works every time.
Oh yeah. 60% of the way up, Hera's going to deny Vinch the ability to build that TC, going to deny him the ability to take that stone. Vinchester does have a somewhat defensible position, but another castle would help a lot, especially if it could come up on top of this hill. Hera continues to roll forward. He's unpacking some trebs now to try to put some damage down on Vinchester's castle. Hera's got a lot of arms. He's waiting for his opponent to come and take on this army, bit of a honeypot army. For now, the blue player Vinch will dive in. Vinch is going to take a lot of damage here. He will get the treb. He will not stop this monk by the looks of it, but he'll lose a big group of trash units and just 20 total military now for Vinch. Vinch had to stop the trebs. He had to stop the cannons, but it is actually a pretty painful thing for him to have to dive in and lose that much of his army. Meanwhile, Hera continues to dive in with more of those winged Hussar, and Vinchester at 59 minutes and 44 seconds will give the GG. Tons of great pressure from Vinch in the early game. Really did a good job to hold on top of this hill, but ultimately, Hera was able to stay alive, man. Staying alive. He's able to stay alive. And he made it work. I didn't really love the choice of Saracens to play through on this one, but Hera proved me to be wrong. So I guess this is the right drop for us to finish the game and look at the achievements with.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself!
When the winged Hussars arrive, GG will follow. Nice game there from Hera, clawing his way out. Saracens are a very, very strong late game civ, and look at how dark it's becoming here. Let me turn the lights up just a little bit, guys, and we'll rock and roll into game number 2. So we fell behind schedule today, but I can power through these wrecks. We'll knock them all out here in a nice little row. I'll say thanks again to Titanium for the very kind donation. Much appreciated, my friend. Let's go ahead, guys, and get everything in order to launch into another match. Oops, little voobly crash there. We'll launch into another match. I'll update the scores real quick, and we'll make things. We'll get things rocking and rolling in just a moment. Nobody is volunteering to cast. Oh, it's probably not going to work out here. I think I'm just going to power through. I do want to take a moment to thank Nobody. Nobody gave us some really great content in between matches, talking about the Doubt and Say My Name matchup. He had some great analysis there. We also got some great analysis from Nobody about the Viper, and you guys can find Nobody's channel here by clicking on this link. I think you should check this out, but with all those nice things said, I'm going to power through here. I want to have the opportunity. We've had a lot of trouble today getting Rex to cast with 2 people in the game, so I'm just gonna keep powering through. It's been really weird with the new beta. For some reason, If 2 people are in the same game room, we could not get the game to launch, which was an absolute real pain in the butt getting things going today. We've also had a little bit of trouble keeping things in synchrony because we can't spec in the same room. So, there's always trouble, but we'll always keep fighting. We'll definitely get Nobody into some casts as soon as we possibly can. That guy he is the man. He is the man. And the man right now in this set is going to be our friend Hera, playing as, I already forgot how to pronounce it, Jakin, I believe it was. Hera is going to be in the blue, playing as the Byzantines. And if you guys saw our stats before this thing started, you would actually have remembered that Hera plays Byzantines really well. In the past 100 games, I think he was 4 or 5-0 in his last 5 times getting Byzantines. Vubli doesn't keep records forever, so we don't know his real stats. He probably has played hundreds of games with Byzantines, but certainly a civ that he's gotten a lot of wins with as of late. So we will expect him to have a nice game here. By the way, it's the KillerB Arabia Cup. It is the round of 8. It is Vinchester versus Hera, the 4 seed versus the 5 seed. Vinchester made a lot of pressure in game number 1, but Hera sustained it here in game number 2. We'll see if there's a different story. Either player can re. Both guys have 2 re's to work with, and if a re is accepted, players will not only get a new map, but they will also get a new civ. So the whole tournament is 1v1 random civ generations. All of the round of 8 is best of 5. So if you get a random civ that you don't like, for instance, if you don't want to have Byzantines here, you can ask for a re, but your opponent 1 time per set can make you play through a re. So we'll see if a re or a veto gets called in this particular game. Maybe we'll get to use the Obama veto emote on the soundboard. But for now, we'll just wait and enjoy whatever comes our way. We'll let this one wash over us, guys. Thanks for being here. I haven't been able to thank all of you guys enough. I know I missed a couple of people who subbed earlier, and I will circle back and try to send you some private messages. I appreciate the support, guys, over the last couple of years. This tournament is totally funded by viewers. People donated a whole lot of money over the past maybe 3-4 months, and we're able to parlay that into a nice tournament. So in this case, we will see Vinchester asking for a re, and we will see Hera saying okay. So what's going to happen now is that the players have accepted a re. That means that we'll go back, we'll generate new civs. Vinch will burn 1 re. That means he has 1 restart left, and Hera will have 2 res and his veto. So that was a quick one, but we will get a re after all out of that game. And interestingly, we got a re from the Magyars player. Hera plays Byzantines great. They have a lot of advantages like getting up to imp sooner. And maybe Vinch just didn't like his map very much. I'm not exactly sure what the plan was, but I'm not going to dwell on it because we are quite a long time behind where we're supposed to be. So let's enjoy the fact that that re was called and that new civs will be given to both guys. And let's just immediately rock and roll into another try at game number 2. Crowdfunded tourney, says Snape Snaps. Indeed it is, and very much appreciation to you guys for that. This is going to be kind of our my argument to Twitch, like, hey, you should really partner us because hopefully we'll have a nice little viewership over the course of the next few days, which will hopefully look nice. I've just now been allowed to. You have to get a certain amount of achievements, a certain amount of viewer numbers. I've just now been able to apply for partnership. So we'll apply for it after this weekend's games and hope that that little bump gives us an opportunity to get the full sub. And that way you guys can get the quality options and hopefully a couple of cool emotes. That would be cool. Anyway, this game will be Hera as the Mayans and Vinchester as the Malay. Vinchester, I believe, plays Mayans rather super good, but unfortunately he's not going to get him this game. He's going to get the Malay instead. Both players do have re's left, so if you want to call a re and try to get a new civ, you can, but your opponent can deny it with a veto, and both guys do have their 1 veto remaining. So Hera's map is a pretty wallable map. His woodline on the left side is not terribly thick, but it does cover a lot of territory. Backberries for Hera as well. He's going to have a couple of decent woodlines to work with, nothing too crazy to write home about. Golden Stoner on the front. And maybe that could be an interesting point of contention. I don't know how this game shapes up because I would be super bored if I knew all the results before it started. But melee are often a sieve for Vinchester. Vinchester here with the melee. They're so fast clicking up to the next stage that they can really come at you with a really well-rounded eco and a strong tower push, and they can follow that up with a castle drop. And in this case, if you did come forward and you tried to build some towers as Vinch, you might just be able to hurt this map a lot. So although I think Vinch has the weaker civ by a good bit, I don't know. Maybe he will want to stick with this. He is kind of known as a very aggressive player. So let's see if he sticks with the melee. 4 vills on wood early for Vinch. Vinch's map is going to have a back gold pile for now. Berries off to the right side. Wood on the front of his base. Does have some stone to work with out on the front, but no nestled safe stone piles. His stones are a little bit exposed. Vinch is luring in his boars, and he's been pushing some deer. Has no scouting on his opponent's side of the map, and we are at 3 minutes and 59. We're at 4 minutes. These guys are going to play this one through. Last game, we saw Vinchester re. This game, he likes his civ matchup good enough. He and Hera are going to play on. Hera is luring in his boar now. Hera's scouting is just covering his side of the map. So Hera is not going forward with his scout yet, and neither is Vinch. Vinch is still looking for sheep. Wow, those sheep are really far from the TC. Those sheep are really far out, and actually, Hera probably stands a better chance of getting them now than maybe Vinch does. Hera's going to climb this hill from the far side, and he is actually not going to find those sheep, I suppose. But nonetheless, Vinchester's early economy, he's probably a bit annoyed. His early scouting is certainly not going to be very good. And if he was thinking about towers, well, you need to scout for that. So I just don't think that's a possibility for Vinch. Dumbestot wants Vinch. Come on, Vinch. Vinchester was a really pleasant surprise to see him email. So the way this tournament worked is I put a post up, and players emailed in and said if they wanted to play. When I saw Vinchester's name, I thought, oh God, oh boy. I almost wanted to rig the brackets so that Doubt would play Vinch in the first round. But I resisted my demons. Doubt and Vinchester have really had some amazing games. Doubt and Vinchester and MBL as well. But, frankly, just didn't make any sense not to have Vinchester as the 5 seed and Hera as the 4. As much as I love to set up good matchups, crazy matchups, I just didn't feel like it was super fair. Let's see. Rig says Snape snaps a deed. Thanks to Snapes and Scar and Davey, and I've seen a couple of other mods here throughout the day. Very much appreciated to you guys for keeping things rolling and keeping the casters up to date. Also, people have been hopefully clicking on the Nobody link. Mr. Nobody's YouTube channel is definitely worth a subscribe. So check all of those things out. I do appreciate all of the love and support from the co-casters. And oh boy, this villager is going to get away with her life. 1 HP by the looks of it. And for now, it will be Vinchester adding a couple of militia. Vinch got housed because he couldn't finish his house on the side. Oh, and he lost that vill. Vinch just lost that vill. What happened? He popped that villager out who was on 1 HP. Oh no, that didn't have to, no, not like this, not like this. He was just a poor boy. Oh God, this is really, oh, that was a rough patch for Vinch. That was a really rough patch for him. Oh, there are 3 corpses here. Man, I hate to bring Haley Joe Osment in already, but I see dead people. I see dead people. That poor kid who sees dead people, he's just about as scarred as I am seeing Vinchester. Unfortunately, losing those couple of vills. I think he didn't need to lose either of them. You kind of give Hera some credit for picking the villager on the farm, but Vinch, with a bit of a blunder, I would say, popping that vill out of the TC who was on 1 HP. That hurts, man. That's very hurtful, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Blue player is on the way up to the feudal age. Blue player here is Jekin, who is Hera. Hera is playing a lot lately, streaming a bit, and really playing very, very well. In game number 1, he did a nice job to dig his way out of a rough situation and grab a win. Here in game number 2, Vinchester is, he's piling up on Hera's gold for now. Vinch is keeping things pretty clustered on the front. Interestingly, our player in red is on 26 villagers and may go up on even 28 villagers to click up to the feudal age. Melee with that faster uptime, I guess, why not? So far, there hasn't been any time for the blue player, Mr. Hera, to get down his ranges. He does have the wood for it. I would expect ranges, but I guess in this case he could also go for barracks. He knows that his opponent is not up to the feudal age yet, so maybe he wants to see if he can punish a fast castle with some sort of aggression. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe Vinch here just decides, or rather Hera here just decides to boom himself. Walls coming all around the map for Vinch. Vinch is mostly safe back at home, still doing a little bit more work. We got a wolf in the mix. T90 would be very excited, but I think that villager probably... Oh, that villager's not loomed! Vinch doesn't have loom! Oh god, I miscalculated. I thought that wolf was going to be up against a loomed vill. Ultimately, Vinchester gets the hill bonus and kills the wolf, but that got dicey quick, didn't it? Vinchester way out away from his TC walling up. I mean... Not so crazy to see a wolf in that situation, and he's actually going to go feudal without loom, because why not? Vinch losing a couple vills early is maybe trying to make up for his smaller eco to try to, well, his soon-to-be smaller eco by not getting loom. He's full-walled, Vinchester, for the most part, so he's not going to grab loom. His militia are getting cleaned on the front. Second barracks is coming down for Hera. Hera will protect his front gold with a tower. And Hera's going to get double barracks, Eagle Scouts out, because why the F not? Why not, guys? Why wouldn't you go Eagles? It's just so fun. Now that it's viable in the beautiful Wololo Kingdoms world, why not go for a couple barracks and some Eagle Warriors? Vinchester has just now hit the feudal age. God, I hope he's got the resources to be able to click up. He will drop an archery range right away and a blacksmith. And Vinch needs more food, but maybe he'll have enough food in time to click the upgrade. Full walls are down for Vinch. It's been a weird early game after losing the 2 vills, and he's still playing this one from behind. He's certainly going to secede map control to his opponent in blue, and we will see Hera with the double eagles coming out. We'll also see Hera moving over to stone. So Hera might follow this up with a tower push as well. Why no loom, says Scarface? I don't know. Loom is still not in. Maybe Vinchester... I can't imagine he forgot loom, but maybe he's full walled, so I guess, you know, logically you don't have to worry about losing villagers since you're full walled. But... I mean, we got to get loom someday, right? That's wheelbarrow coming in now for Vinch. That's fine, but still no loom. Still no loom. Maybe we should have a counter. Days without loom. Days without an accident. We are going to see archer production from Vinch. He's not going for a full-on greedy boy fast castle, but he will have wheelbarrow coming, and it's just going to be one-range archers. So you could imagine that Vinch will be able to click up to castle pretty soon. On the other side of the map, it is going to be 400 food, 100 gold for Hera, who is also taking some stone. Hera has spent some stone on a tower now, but I'm not exactly sure what his long-term goal is with that. Maybe plumes. Plumes make a lot of sense, right? Maybe we'll see a castle drop in the castle age and some plumed archers from Hera. I will take this opportunity to fast forward a little bit. Hope you guys don't mind if we watch at a little bit of a faster speed just for a couple of minutes. We are way behind on time. Not that it really matters anymore, but we did deal with some major technical issues that were pretty unforeseen. I don't know why we couldn't get the Rex to launch properly today, but tomorrow everything will be live, so hopefully that will make all of the problems go away. We're going to start the day tomorrow at noon GMT with a Tato co-cast. Mr. Tato, that is the Tato. Maybe the second best player in the game. I don't know. I guess it's all arguable. But a guy that I really like. I met him in person a couple times, and Tato's he's an absolute beast. He's such a cool guy. Sweetest guy in the world, and such a badass Age of Empires player. Maybe the first top pro to really embrace the new civs. He's the hipster of the game. He was making it cool before anyone else knew it was cool. So Tato will be here at noon. We'll actually get a co-cast from the Viper at 14 GMT. Viper is playing in the tournament, but he's gonna come and co-cast with us at 14 GMT. At 16 GMT, we'll have Zero Empires here. And to finish things off, we will bring in Mr. Nilly, the German phenom, the Beast. You are a fucking beast! The Beast will be with us at 18 GMT. So look forward to that tomorrow, guys. Everything is going to be live. There will be a lot of channels open, and I, of course, encourage you to go to wherever you find the most joy. But at least stop by and give us some love. Give us a hello. We'll see if that game gets good coverage. I hope this tournament can bring something cool for the community. I hope it brings some nice viewership to the players. Players will be able to stream their point of view tomorrow as well. So, you know, a little bit of love to everybody involved. Anyway, enough about me plugging the program. Premier League says epic program. I think so. I've never co-cast with the Viper. I have co-cast some games on Escape with Tato, but the Viper, this will be a first, and I hope I don't turn into a full-on fangirl and just go, "Oh, Viper!" If he sings to me, I might get a little overwhelmed.
Story, baby, just say yes.
Eagle Warrior upgrade coming for our player Hera. Hera is still mining away the stone pile and will be able to drop a castle sometime soon, maybe. He's built a couple defensive towers. He is dropping down a market on the back of his eco. But I do think ultimately there will be a castle and there will be blood. For now, Eagle Warrior upgrade will come in and Hera will maybe try to get inside of Vinchester's base. Vinch is full wall. Vinch is pretty happy back at home. He's in the castle age as well with a couple more villagers than Hera. Hera's on 1 TC. Vinch is on 1 TC as well, but a second one is on the way up to the north of the map for Vinch. So lots of things have been moving forward, but ever so slowly here in this game. We fast forwarded a bit, and I think it was a good decision because we didn't miss too much. We're still seeing crossbows trying to find some traction. We're still seeing Eagle Warriors. Actually, Vinchester doubling down, or rather Hera doubling down on Eagle Warriors. This is a good batch of Eagles. This group of crossbows from Vinch is going to have some serious trouble. +2 defense is already in for the player in blue, and he is going to be poking away at this group of crossbows with +1 damage in. Vinchester microing away nicely. Vinch is known for his micro. He's an incredibly good micro player. He's going to get a ton of damage down, but this whole army of crossbows probably ends up in a shallow grave somewhere. Very nice from Hera to get in behind that group of crossbows with a couple of eagles so that Vinch cannot cram himself into a little corner. And Vinch will lose every crossbow to a man, and he'll be left with a single military unit, a single crossbowman inside of his base. So, you know, Hera did lose a lot in that exchange. He definitely lost 8 or so eagles, definitely did take some wind out of his sails, but 13 military on the map and basically full map control now for Mr. Hera. 2 TCs down for Vinch. Third town center is on the way. Hera on his side is on 1 TC, but he's 10 stone away from a castle. So it's been a slow play toward potentially plumes, and it looks like that map control for Hera is going to turn into a castle drop right on top of this hill. Can you think of a better place than, well, this hill's also pretty decent, but that hill right there is, oh, that is an absolute beast of a hill. You are a fucking beast! Absolute beast of a hill. Hera is going to drop that castle right on Vinchester's front porch. He's going to have plenty of eagles here to convince Vinchester that he can't really do much about it. And this whole front area is now a little bit in jeopardy. Could turn into a doubt castle. You never know. Could be a little bit of a Titanic. Oh, that's my favorite one sometimes. That's Katsuni singing the song from Titanic. Very smart play from Vinchester to wall in his group of crossbows here. That's going to make Hera a little uncomfortable. Hera actually can't push through the walls fast enough, and Vinchester is going to deny the castle. Hera will go back up the hill and drop down a watchtower, and he's going to have to really earn his keep. He's going to have to earn his castle on the front. Very clever play from Vinch, creating a little bit of a pocket here so that the eagles will stand and take damage if they just try to bludgeon down the walls. The castle is 51% of the way up, so it probably will eventually get up, but the tower is going to be needed first. Villagers coming back. Castle is now up to 60%, and we will see if it does finish this time. Who's going to co-cast tomorrow, says Snapes? Oh, I just told everybody. We've got, maybe you were just stepping away. We've got Tato at 12 GMT. The Viper will co-cast at 14 GMT. We'll have Zero Empires at 16 GMT and Nilly to finish off the day with the grand final at 18 GMT. A series of absolute badasses. Should be a whole lot of fun. For now, we're waiting for this castle to come up from Hera. It's been an expensive castle. Couple of vills dropped already. And of course, Hera back at home has had to stay on 1 TC in order to get it up. However, now that the castle is up, it's hard to stop these eagles from pushing in. The red player Vinch has to figure out some sort of clever solution really quickly. His solution is going to be a defensive castle in the middle of his eco, and I guess a prayer. He's living on a prayer at this point. It's just so scary to see such a massive batch of Eagle Warriors storming towards your economy. These units do not have to engage anywhere near that castle. They can run into the flesh of this eco. With Arson on the way for Hera, he can knock down a TC, and I guess that's what's on his mind. The Arson upgrade is coming for Hera. He's fixing to knock some buildings down. His castle on the front basically denies this town center from being effective. And now his eagles can go and kill what they like. There's a couple crossbows left, but ultimately not enough. Squires and forging coming for Vinch. Vinch is maybe going to try to make a unit transition into some karambits to try to take a little melee fight with his opponent's eagles. Vinchester with a forward, or rather Hera with a forward TC. That's a very a very good TC behind his castle. Looks like an ultra ballsy town center. We'll actually see a third TC for Hera coming up shortly. He will have a 20 villager disadvantage, but he certainly has an advantage in the way of damage and pressure. Plumed Archer starting to come out. Bodkin Arrow is already in, and we've got a nice mixed Castle Age military for the Mayans player. So Hera here did win game number 1 in a defensive battle. In game number 2, it's Vinchester trying to play a defensive match. Vinch is on the back foot, but he does have a nice eco. Waiting to awake the sleeping giant is Vinch, who's ready to click Imp any moment, and he is melee. Melee players will get up to Imp faster. So you could foresee Vinchester, who's clicking to Imp now, having a good tech advantage soon. The problem is that there's 36 military knocking at his gates, and some of his eco is probably going to get taken down. Interestingly, Vinchester is basically abandoning this TC. He's got a couple of villagers left taking the gold, but he's abandoned the farms, and he's going to shift those villagers over to the wood line on the left. Karambit numbers are not super high. There are a couple of them out. Looks like we've got about 10 of those units now. More and more of those coming with Imperial upgrades could help Vinchester flip this position, but it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be an easy situation.
Staying alive.
Just needed that for my own energy level. Vinch is just trying to stay alive, man. Just trying to make things work out here. For now, Hera has been very patient, taking down some buildings on the right side, taking down some buildings on the front. Should be able to kill this TC. That is not Vinchester's Imperial TC, by the way. But this one in the north is. Vinch will try for another castle, but Hera might be here to deny it. This would be really annoying, because if you want to go karambits, you need castles. Oh man, really unfortunate for Vinch. This castle is not like guarded or anything, but it's up in the fog of war in a place where you wouldn't normally think to go. Plumed archers, though, do get a little bit experimental in their approach, and they did find, they found pay dirt. Hera's got a bunch of eagles inside this castle. He's not building a treb yet. I guess he can't afford it based on wood. He's going to come over and watchtower up his opponent's castle, and that is really annoying. Vinchester here definitely needs to finish that castle to get the karambit production rolling. But, of course, 2 towers next to it will make it a pretty perilous situation for villagers to try to run into. Hera is an imp. Oh, okay, my apologies. Yeah, it is Vinchester in the Imperial Age who will be trebbing down the castle. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. Thanks for the tips, guys. We're at 8 hours, 15 minutes. And we've seen some real barn burners of games. We saw some great matches today. If you didn't get to see them already, you can catch them on YouTube or on Twitch highlights. But you won't be disappointed. I think it was a really great set of games. Our blue player Hera, who is not in the Imperial Age, is not going to be building trebs, is going to be bludgeoning down a few more buildings. He will head to the south of the map, and he should win this TC pretty easily. I don't think there's a good way for Vinch to stop him. Vinch needs a little bit more karambit production. Also, plate mail armor is still coming. Vinch waiting for a few more upgrades. Vinchester's castle is going to be denied for now. He's going to build another castle next to it and maybe try to treb down these towers and push his way in. So Vinch will be slowed down for his third castle, but he does have 2 castles down now. Imperial Age is in for the red player, and he is building up Karambit warriors like they're going out of style. On the other side, we've got plumed archers full of eagle warriors that are rolling in, and a good bit of gold in the bank for Hera. Hera's soon going to have the food economy to click up, I would imagine. So Hera's in a decent spot. He does have 78 fills, though, and he does not have the Imperial text that he needs. So Vinch may, after staying alive for a while, he may be able to claw his way out of this, but he's definitely going to need the right engagement with his Karambits. He can either try to engage. I think he's going to be forced to engage because it looks like Hera is ready to maybe run in. Yeah, Vinch here is going to have to engage Hera. Hera's coming to knock down these trebs. Hera doesn't want to lose his forward castle, not without a fight, and his eagles will show up and basically bludgeon the trebs down immediately. Vinch still can't really take that fight. His Karambit number is not nearly enough. His military count is 15. I suppose Karambit should be half a population, so maybe it's 30 Karambits out. But certainly not enough to push against the eagles and plumes that the blue player has. Hera's on the way to crossbowmen. Hera's on the way to Imperial Age now. We will see archery ranges coming on the front for the blue player, and he is going to try to take the opportunity to counter these Karambits. Vinchester is going to try to take the opportunity to get this castle up, but it could turn into a doubt castle. Looks like he will get it on 100%, and Hera will have to run home. Who do I need to stab to get a mod? You are already a mod, Davey, but you can stab someone if you want. You can stab people. Let's see. Oh, you're talking about on Snape's channel. I gotcha. Snapes doesn't treat her mods likely. Big ups to Snapes for being here and modding today, and Davey and Scar, and really, actually, I'm missing a lot of people, but a lot of people stopping by and helping out, keeping the chat rolling, keeping things not from getting not too out of hand. We'll see Vinchester try to push out with those Karambit. They are a very nice raiding unit, and there is a hole. Vinchester is going to get in. Hera cannot finish the walls. Well, he finishes them kind of, but they will be bludgeoned down quickly. But here comes some plumes in from behind, and all of a sudden Vinchester is kind of trapped in a really ugly spot. Towers firing away from all sides, plumed archers firing away from all sides. Karambits are going to get into this economy, but at a price. Those Karambits definitely did not get in for free, several of them dying down already, and now the TC Arrow Fire will work on them a bit. Highly upgraded elite Karambit warriors, though, they did sustain some good arrow fire, and they will run to the back of this eco and start to idle some farms. Hera's going to chase them down with some plumes for now. Hera was building up a bunch of crossbows, or did build a bunch of ranges to go into crossbowman production. Just one castle was not fast enough for him, so he wants to get the crossbows going as well. For now, the Karambits have yet to land too much damage, but they do have a lot of damage potential. Villagers having to run off these farms and go idle into the towers is not ideal, and of course we'll see a couple of villagers spilling their blood all over the vegetable patches here. Vinchester is putting down some damage. After a rocky Dark Age, he is now in an interesting position. He's got a score lead of 300 points. He's got a villager lead of 15 points. He does have a lot of Karambits out. They are starting to get kind of cleaned up by the plumes, but he can continue to keep that pressure going with such a cheap unit. The blue player Hera is going to have one castle, which has been trebbed away at for a long time. For now, that castle is continuing to sustain damage. Hera's been waiting with Eagle Warriors, but not Elite Eagle Warriors. Seems like that upgrade probably wouldn't help him too much in this situation. He's happy, Hera is happy, I suppose, to get the Arbalest upgrade and to continue to try to counter the Karambits. Karambit warriors are fast, they are cheap, but if you can corral them into a corner, they are not the most effective. Finch spreading them out a little bit here and there, the more he can spread those units around the map, the better chance he has of really doing serious damage to Hera. Hera's got a couple vills here that are going to get knocked down, and the castle may go down with them, and Vinchester might just overwhelm this position with Karambit. If we look from Hera's point of view, we don't see a lot of resource in the bank. If we look from Vinchester's point of view, oh sweet Jesus, we see all of the resources you could ever want. As far as gold goes, another castle will come soon for Vinch, and the Karambit production can increase in magnitude. So maybe Vinch is about to overwhelm this spot. The big power spike for Mayans in the late Castle Age did change the scores and did make Vinchester uncomfortable, but he did stay alive. Oh, baby. And now, Vinch is starting to spread those little red dots, those little red Karambit warriors all over the map. Damage is coming in on all sides. It's not over till it's over, but it is a little uncomfortable. Blue player is defending with 30 total military, does have some plumes, some arbs, and a couple trebs. There are 36 Karambit on the map that continue to basically maraud. So, there you have it. Hera will give the GG, and this set is going to tie up at 1 game apiece. I thought there was a good opportunity for Hera to try to finish Vinch. He had him in a tight little gap, but Vinchester, using the Civ bonus of melee perfectly, played defensively for most of the game until it was the right time to strike, and then, and only then, Mr. Vinchester, the guy who I told you can win any game in any situation. This dude is really, really great when the chips are down, and in this game, Vinchester climbed his way out of a hole. GG to you, Mr. Vinch. You will grab the W. We'll quickly look at the achievements, and then we will jump immediately into the next game, guys. You know, the day is getting short here. Sun's starting to go down, even though it's midsummer in Sweden, and it stays up until about 10 p.m. We're starting to lose sunlight, so we will rock and roll into the 3rd game of the set. This is a best of 5, so we could be here a bit longer. I would not be surprised at all if we got another hour and a half ahead of us in the casting booth. It's KillerB. Thanks for being here. You can see it's getting dark. It's getting dark in here. But hey, man, it is what it is. We are in it until the very last game is over. Let's change the score now from 1-0 to 1-1. Vinchester earning a very nice victory there. And let's immediately prepare ourselves for the next game. What I should do, which I didn't do before, is change the title to Hera v Vinch. And my apologies for people who came here under false pretenses, thinking that we were still playing the MBL versus Stark series. Okay, so game number actually 4, since we did see a rematch or a restart in one of these games, is on the way. Let's do it right now, and since Vinch got the win, let's play his hype song.
I'm strong enough to go to the club or the corner pub and lift the whole liquor counter up, cause I'm raising the bar. I shoot for the moon, but I'm too busy gazing at stars. I feel amazing and I'm not afraid to take a stand, Everybody, come take my hand, come take my hand.
Oh, baby. Good hype music for Mr. Vinchester there after he gets a very nice win to tie the score at 1-1. Hopefully that didn't blow your eardrums out, guys. Hopefully it got your pulse going a little bit. We saw Mayans and Britain's last game. This time it will be Mayans for the blue player, Mr. Hera again. Oh, okay. For some reason I thought it would be Vinchester with the Mayans here. Hera's got Mayans again. Vinch will get the Britons, Hera will get the Mayans, and this is the KillerB Arabia Cup round of 8. It's a best of 5 in this round, and you can see the score is 1-1. The way that this tournament works, it's all random Civ on Arabia. It's all 1v1, and if you can convince your opponent to give you a re, you get a new map, and you get a new Civ. So if you don't like your Civ matchup, you can always try to re your way out, but your opponent 1 time per series can veto that restart. So we will find out if there is a re or a veto in this game. I'm still waiting to use my Obama veto. Oh, here we go. Vinchester will go re, and Hera will go okay. So actually, this is the 2nd game we've seen restarted out of the set. I believe that's both of the restarts now from Vinchester that have been used. And Hera is going to accept that restart. Mayans are a super OP Civ, but Mayans versus Britons, maybe not exactly the matchup that Hera wanted. Vinch wants a re, and Hera's going to give it to him. So, not much to say about that one. A very early re for both guys, and we will regenerate new Civs as we try again at game number 3. I like this. It's going to be a slow thing. This re-veto thing is going to be a slow startup. But I do like the opportunity for players to think about the tactics of, okay, I've got Mayans, I've got Britons, my opponent has Mayans, my win condition is what, the score of the series is what, How do I want to play this as far as rees and vetoes go? I really like that it adds a tiny new element to things. I hope you guys are enjoying that aspect as well. So we will try again, and oh God. Well, first let me say thanks to everybody. We've got Ali gifting a bunch of subs to Davey, Snapes, and Galley. And then Snapes is gifting a sub to Crash Overdrive. So it's an absolute clusterfuck going on in the sub area of things. Thanks, everybody, for that. Thanks for that support. This, though, is really surprising, guys. Game number 3 would have been Britons v. Mayans. Vinchester called a re, and now Vinchester gets Vietnamese versus Indians. And there's nothing about that situation that I think is better unless Vinch has a killer map. We did see the Viper with success with the Vietnamese earlier today, so maybe I'm a little too down on the Vietnamese as a civ. But man, you read out of Mayans versus Britons, which, okay, but unfortunately you read into Vietnamese versus Indians. Oh boy. Okay, let's take a look at the maps here. This is the KillerB Arabia Cup. It is the 3rd game, and it is a single elimination best-of-5 tournament. So we will see at least a couple more matches, maybe all 5. Red player is Mr. Vinchester. He's a longtime pro, extremely good player, plays great in all conditions. He's kind of he's got ice water in his veins, as they say. Vinchester is going to have the Vietnamese. He's going to have a pretty wallable map if you consider that these wood lines create quite a lot of structure. If he were to wall himself in, he might be able to protect the berries, a couple stone piles, and a gold. So this map is not bad. This is actually quite nice. Let's say, for instance, if Vinch goes for men-at-arms in this case, he might have time to basically wall his whole map in before Hera gets over to annoy him. Hera will have 3 villagers on the wood line. Indians player might go straight for scouts. It's a pretty powerful build. Does have gold off to the right side, berries on the front, and stone behind him. Hera in the blue, playing as Jekin here, is pretty open. There is some ability to structure this map. Maybe you can wall it in the mid game, but at least for the early game, I think Hera is going to be pretty open. Pretty open and pretty spread out. One wood line here. We may see a wood line there, I guess. Maybe you double lumber camp this wood. Woods are not great for Hera. It's not a great map for him, but we are now past the 4-minute mark, so these guys can no longer try to call a re to get out of this situation. So thanks to, let's see, I Climb Things for the recent follow, and thanks to Ali for gifting some subs. That's very kind of you. And then Snape's gifting a sub. It's a very confusing, tangled web we weave, but I do appreciate the support from you guys. I'll say again, thanks again to all of you guys in the past who have been donating to the channel. You totally funded this event. I was really thinking like, all right, I'm going to take some money out of pocket to help fund this event. And it was like, I don't know, I guess I'll just wait, and people who have donated on the PayPal will fund it. And you guys truly did a great job to bring this together. I hope you like the settings. You can always, Hera is going to get trapped there. Vinchester does have loom. Vinchester's house is strong enough that Hera won't get out. And Hera loses his scout. KillerB's over here selling out, and while he does, that's really gonna, that's Vinchester's scout. Okay, I don't know why I'm like creaming my panties over here. I thought that was Vinchester could have stolen those sheep, but I'm mistaken. It's been about 8.5 hours of casting, so I'm really starting to get a little loopy. Red player scout is on 2 HP. Not exactly sure how that happened, but he is going to have a little bit of HP left to work with. So why did Vinch not re, says Snapes. Well, Vinchester used both of his re's already, so he can't re out of this game. And even if he wanted to, I think Hera would probably veto that re. But yeah, Vinch rematched in the Magyars v Byzantines game, if I remember correctly. And he also rematched in the previous game, which was Britons versus Mayans. Look at Vinchester going out to get this boar. Oh, God. I mean, even with loom, you need a scout block in this, don't you? Or a sheep block. Vinch is calculating that he can get that boar, but that is so far away, and that boar gets a running start, and this villager is... Oh, he's a poor boy. Nobody loves that Vil. He's going to take several hits on the way back home. Maybe he makes it. I don't know if you guys in the chat want to bet. I guess he does take a hit that's uphill, so a little less damage there. 22 HP on the Lumberjack. He's going to make it home. He's going to make it home easy, guys. Killer B confirmed super, super wrong. Loom was plenty for Vinch to get that boar. And again, I'm just going to blame all of my mistakes from now on being tired. I'm really tired, guys. I had to do fun things all day. Don't judge me. Feudal H coming for the blue player. He's going to be up on 19 villagers with Loom. His barracks is not quite done yet, but our player Hera is going to drop down a stable immediately, and we will fast forward for a couple of minutes here, guys. Hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind. But hey, if this goes into 5 games, I don't want to be here at midnight because we are starting back up tomorrow at 12 GMT. So 1-to-1 for each player. Vinchester trapped his opponent's scout nicely. Hera is not going to be able to get much damage in because Vinch is full walling up, and Vinch will have a pretty dang nice map, a super nice map. The wood lines aren't ultra thick.
Look at that thick wood. Oh, that's not running out anytime soon.
You could harass this side with towers or something, but I don't think that's really in the cards for this particular matchup because the blue player here, Hera, is going to start adding in scouts. And, of course, after the investment into scouts, he could come back with some towers, but the die has probably been cast at this point. Thank you to Mia for the follow and NKLN. Much appreciated. Welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are having a good time. Barracks coming down for the red player Vinchester. And we have powered through several minutes of this game. And oh boy, we are going to see villagers coming. And we are going to see some towers from Mr. Vinch. Or rather from Mr. Hera. Hera can see this wood line. That's exactly where he's headed. He can also see this gold. So why not drop a tower or 2 in this area and really harass your opponent's position? The thing is, though, that Hera doesn't know, because his scout died so early, he doesn't know exactly how good the rest of Vinchester's map is. I mean, Vinch is sitting on an absolute gold mine of stone and gold here. He's got a great map. Even if he gets towered on this wood, he can just transition over. I don't think it's the end of the world. Losing the front gold is annoying, but there is very, very safe gold here as well. So it's not going to totally double-leg Vinch's position. It will annoy it a bit, but I don't know if Hera really gets as much advantage out of this as he might on a normal map. On a normal, non-super OP map, you would say, oh, great, I took away my opponent's main gold, I took away his wood, I'm in a great spot. That may or may not be the case. We'll see. Hera is still trying to work his way in with those scouts. His next tower is actually not over on this wood line. It's right in front of the gold, and boy was I wrong, because that's going to help him try to bludgeon down that front wall. Vinchester gets a tower up in defense. Vinchester does not have more stone for another tower, but he will soon, sending 2 vills out to the stone pile now. Vinch's tower here, along with a little bit of more secondary walling and a couple of archers in defense, should really make him T90 fine in this position. I don't think there's a lot of things to be having nightmares about as long as this tower finishes for Vinchester and he can jump inside of it. Hera thinking about diving in. Hera diving in. Vinch almost able to quick wall up with 1 more house, but not quite. We do not see any upgrades on the blue scouts, and those blue scouts, they are going for a run. Those blue scouts might be able to pick a couple of archers here, but they have taken a lot of damage. Many of them on low HP already, and they're going to be hard-pressed to get in any real damage. They do kill a spear. They will roll back to villagers on this side, but man, almost every one of them is on 10 HP or less. We'll see. Maybe there is a little bit more to be had from this group of scouts. In the meantime, we do see Hera dropping another tower on Vinchester's woodline on the side. So the scouts are getting cleaned up. The scouts are, oh man, there's no real reprieve for them. They're going to all die to a man. They're going to see dead people.
I see dead people.
Running under the TC, trying to snipe one of the farming vills. Hera's trying to create an opportunity, but not a whole lot of opportunities to be had with those scouts. They went on a nice run. They I don't know, they got their steps in for the day on the pedometer, but at the end of the day, They're lying dead on top of the farms, and they didn't get too much damage done. Red player is going to push out a bit. Again, I will speed this up just a little bit, guys, since we are, we don't want to be here all night. We'll just slow down for the most exciting parts. Speed up here just for a moment as these archers slowly waddle their way forward. Vinchester is the Vietnamese. He is having to play this game because he used up his rematches. He might have tried to re-out of it, but now he's got to play it as it lies. Doesn't have any rees left. Vinch in the red is going wheelbarrow. He's got a very defensive map. He is not fletching up those archers. He's pushing them out without upgrades. Vinch on 500 food, 100 gold. His opponent Hera is actually on 800 food and 150 gold. Not too surprising to see a nice food boost for a player playing as the Indians, since Indians are OP. Indians player is still farming away. He's going to garrison the TC and be able to click up any moment. He's dropping down some archery ranges, maybe for some skirms in defense. We have seen a couple of nice towers from Hera, a couple of annoying spots, but ultimately Vinchester has not been damaged too much. We will basically take a step back and wait for the Castle Age and see who can get an advantage in Castle. Ultimately, right now, it's still a dead heat of a game, at least in my opinion. At least in my opinion, it's a pretty equal position. Hera is still pretty open. He's got a tower down on his wood line on the side. The back gold is not super well protected, but maybe more towers could come for him in the future. Indians player does have one stable with the bloodline scouts coming out. Second stable is on the way though for Hera, and Hera is going to run. Oh, he just ran right through the army of Vinchester like ships in the night. Neither guy patrolling there. Luckily, Hera wasn't patrolling, and luckily for Hera, Vinchester wasn't patrolling either. Scouts running right through that group of units that really should have killed them quite easily. Bloodlines is done, +1 defense is done, archery range is coming, and actually Hera decided to delete that stable that he was building in favor of getting a second range. So instead of going camels in this situation, we will see Hera try to get more skirms out. I think that his camels might have been a little bit behind the 8-ball with so many archers on the map and a couple of spears. So maybe the skirmisher play is the right call, at least in my opinion. Elite skirm upgrade is coming for Hera. Hera is going to have a few camels anyway to go along with that group. And Hera is going to dive into the back of Vinchester's economy. Vinchester still working his way up to the Castle Age, has transitioned over to stone. But he's going to sustain some raiding now. Vinch is ready for a castle drop. Vietnamese player might want to go for some rattan archers, some rats in this case. But even just a castle to get a little position is probably a very nice choice. Hera's spreading his scouts here and there, but that might mean that he actually gets no villagers out of this raiding. Vinchester, with a really nice response to this, is able to basically hold the position just fine. I think Vinch is okay unless Hera... Ooh, Hera can find one vill here who's pretty weak. That villager needs to get out of dodge. Look at this. Hera is after him like a heat-seeking missile. Very wise is Mr. Hera clicking on these vills, and Vinch will lose that villager. Okay, it happens. A little bit unfortunate. The scouts will get cleaned up. We will see a university and another town center for the red player Vinch. We will see Hera with a lot of map control pushing in on his opponent with a couple towers, a couple of elite skirms, a siege workshop coming on top of the hill. And Vinch will be trying to defend with crossbows. But remember, Vinchester can build a castle. And what better place for that castle than maybe right here, right? If Vinch can control this part of the map even for like a minute, maybe he can delete a couple things here and get a castle down. I think that could be really nice. Castle would do nicely to kill these couple of towers. But I guess we'll see. For now, Vinchester is still working on killing some of those elite skirms from Hera. Hera is sending camels to their death at the moment, but mostly we've got the blue player Hera up on top of this hill, still holding his opponent's main gold hostage. TC count for Hera is going to be 1. Interestingly, on that 1 TC, he's got a 5-vill advantage. Second town center is coming for him, and that's going to be it for now. So Hera will spend some resource on coming forward first, and then after that, he will go for another TC. Vinch went for the second TC right away and is now going for a third town center. Still no castle for Vinch. Vinch might not see a good place to put a castle So he is just still waiting for his moment. Waiting for his moment to drop a castle down. We shall see how this game develops. It is going to be about 16, well, it is 16 military for the Vietnamese player. He does not have +2, just with the +1 damage at the moment. Vinch is going ballistics. I wonder if Vinch forgot. Did he forget to get Bodkin? I'm not exactly sure why he wouldn't have it in this situation, but he's going for ballistics first, because why not? Bodkin is on the way, so I don't think he forgot it. Interesting, though. I don't think I've seen that too many times, but hey, whatever gets the job done, whatever gets the job done for Vinch. Continued skirmisher production for Hera. Hera is trying to push in, and Vinch is trying to get his castle up to try to hold this position. So Vinch will try to get a castle that could have been a doubt castle, but it's actually nicely positioned so that most of the villagers are out of range of the mangonels. Mangonels are firing in shots, but Vinch is microing pretty nicely to keep most of the villagers alive. Right as I say that, a couple more villagers go down. Castle is on 60%, and since my voice is so dead, let's use a drop.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
Hera defending himself pretty nicely on the top of the map, able to kill a lot of those crossbows. Vinch is on 7 military. Vinch's castle is absolutely pivotal here, and I think it will go up. He's building it from the corner that cannot be reached by the mangoes. Hera's going to give it a try, but I think he's outranged here. So Hera might be wise to just dip out. Castle's on 90%. These mangoes are going to be they're going to be chewed up by the castle for cheap. So I do think the blue player will retreat. I think that's the right play. So Hera's got a 6 villager advantage. Vinchester is on 3 TCs and now a castle and some Rattan Archer production. The blue player on his side is on 2 TCs. Indian's player has produced nicely, has not been harassed much at home, and has played defensively with some skirms here in the Castle Age. For the moment, as the players pull back and regroup a bit, I think I'll speed this one up to 75%. We'll see these guys fleshing out their ecos. We do expect Vinchester to get a little bit of a villager advantage with 3 TCs cranking away, but there is a new TC on this side as well for Hera. So both guys now on 3 TCs. Economies are in full boom, or full bloom, I suppose. Still not too much to say, except that the front gold of Vinchester is still taken away by Hera, and the extra gold by Vinch is getting smaller by the minute. So Vinch's next castle has to get closer to this gold pile, I think, in order for him to be able to have resources in the mid and late game. Hera will click Imp now. We will see the man in blue with 425 stone in the bank. We'll see him maybe start to roll forward with some vills and drop a castle soon. He could drop it at home, but I wonder if Hera will try to get a castle up on top of this hill right around the time he hits Imp. That would be pretty sweet. But maybe I'm pipe dreaming because there's not so many villagers here to do it. Ram's starting to come out for Vinchester. Vinchester is not clicking up to Imp yet. He's on 200 food, 300 gold. So although Vinch has a good villager count, he is not really very close to clicking. Also, notably, Vinch he'll have 500 gold left to mine, so just barely enough to go to Imp if he wants to. That would basically mean he can't spend any more gold, which he continues to do. I think it's the right play. Just saying that Vinchester does have to get this area back into his possession, basically no matter what it costs. He's got to win that front gold. If you're playing as Vinch, you can knock down the walls and try to move to an extra gold pile. That might be the case as the game rolls on. Vinch does know about this extra gold. And Vinch is going to go for a castle up on top of that hill. Because why not? Hera still sending forward skirms. 670 stone in the bank for Hera, who's dropping down a couple of stables. Chain barding armor on the way. And we will see some cavalry from Mr. Hera. Hera has not dropped down that castle yet. I suppose that he's either going to... Well, he might just drop it in defense. I don't see villagers coming forward, and it is about time for him to do something with it. So we'll keep an eye out. We will keep an eye out. University up in the back of the eco for both players. They both have ballistics at this point in the game. We will see a couple of mangoes traded 1 for 1 there. We'll see a market coming down now for Vinch. Castle for Hera will come exactly where I would have wanted it. I don't know about you guys. but a very nice hill to push from. Sometimes I'm thinking of too greedy, I guess, about, oh, I want that castle done right as I hit imp so that I can start trebbing away. But realistically, this castle coming up now is totally fine for Hera. Hera continues to send units toward the hill. He's got a couple of camels out, a couple of skirms out here and there. This should be a fine position for him to defend. On the red side of things, the castle is down. A couple of Rattan archers and crossbows are out. We will see a couple of barracks come down and maybe some of those pikemen coming out. Some of those pointy boys, I suppose. So as we wait a few moments for the big engagement to come, we have heavy camel coming, plate barding armor coming, more camels spamming to the top of this hill for Hera. Hera is ready to basically dare his opponent to climb the hill. Vinchester still with a small-ish army. I mean, it is 17 units, but it is mostly archers, which, of course, will have trouble climbing that hill versus what could be Imperial camels by the time Vinch is ready to give that hill a go. We'll see. For now, it is heavy camel just finishing up. Vinchester will have another castle on the side of the map. His Rattan archer production, I guess, will increase by 1/3 with that third castle coming, but it's still a problem of gold for Vinch, and maybe he's ready to take some of these extra golds on the map. Vinch needs some gold, man. He's on the way to imp. His gold economy right now is 0. There's 0 villagers mining gold. He's got a bunch of villagers on stone, so he can still build more castles pretty easily. But, you know, gold is king. At some point in the game, we do need to see either Vinch win back his main gold, or more likely, Vinch win some of these extra golds on the side. Treb's out on the top of the hill for Hera. Hera is going to try to bludgeon down Vinch's main TC first. I like the decision to go for the town center first here. The castle will take a long time to kill, so just finish off that TC. I like that. That's kind of nice. Making the economy a lot less efficient on that side for all those vills. And then I suppose we'll see Hera start to work on the castle. Hera's got great control of the left side of the map, but the left side of the map, well, it has relics, it has stone, but it's not super gold rich. Does control his opponent's main gold, does have an extra gold pile to work with that he may not have scouted. No, he did scout it. Beautiful. But a lot of the gold is on the right, and we are seeing Vinchester trying to make a play for that gold, building up more castles. Heavy camel raiding coming in, taking down some of Vinch's vills, and Vinch is really going to start to feel a pinch here. Sorry that rhymed. It's super lame, but Vinch is in a lot of trouble. He's got 1 relic, so he does have a tiny bit of gold economy trickling in, but nobody's mining gold right now. No villagers on gold. Still just a stone miners in the back of the economy for Vinch. Vinch is trying to add in some pikes to try to deal with the heavy camel raiding, which will work for now. But ultimately, the clock is really ticking quickly, and Vinch has to have some sort of a plan to win a gold pile really soon. We will see Hera building a castle on the right side of the map. It looks like he does not want to allow Vinchester to take that gold on the right. Hera has also sent a pretty sizable army to this gold pile to make sure that Vinch can't take that either. Vinchester certainly at a civ disadvantage in this game, but he doesn't have any rees left, so he had to play this one. And now he's starting to feel a real pinch from the Indians player. Indians are a beast of a civ. Vietnamese are, well, they're pretty difficult to find a way to win with, I guess, unless you are the Viper after all. But this game does continue to roll forward. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. If Hera can knock down this castle, that would be nice for him. He's already knocking this one down. That does make Vinchester a little bit hamstrung. Can't really produce Rattan archers without the castles. We will see watchtowers continuing to creep forward for Hera, and we will see some elephant archers to go along with this. Hera's got a 40 villager advantage as Vinchester hits imp. Vinch will go halp, he'll go chainmail armor, and he'll go bracer. But he may just go GG and then try again in the next match. There is still an opportunity. There is still an army, 38 total military for Vinch. I really worry about his ability to stop this push up the middle. He's got to find a way to stop these trebs. They're not super well guarded, just a couple of elephant archers, a single elephant archer. But those trebs are quickly knocking down town centers inside of the red economy. Vinch is pushing back out, though. He may be able to take this gold now that his army has pushed forward. Hera is sitting on 500 gold. Vinchester is sitting on 150. Both guys could be using the market a little bit. Maybe Hera wants to crash the market a tiny bit, but Vinch certainly should be using it to keep his production going. Those couple of trebs from Hera are finally going to have to start to go back. There was nothing protecting them, so excuse me, not punishing them from taking out the TCs just doesn't make sense. So those trebs will have to go back for now. We'll see Vinchester putting down some damage with the rats, and maybe this is Vinch's time to shine. He's still 45 villagers behind, which is a huge, huge margin. But, yeah, maybe these rats can do some damage. TC coming up on the front for Vinch. Vinch's main gold still is in the control of Hera. Hera's Elephant Archer, well, it may have been a misclick anyway, but it is now a dead elephant in the room, unfortunately. Hussar starting to get mixed in for the Indians player. Heavy Camel is the flavor of the day. We're not going to see the Imperial Camels here. We've got Halbs out for the player in red and Rats. Those units are going to do okay as a composition, but there are quite a few skirmishers here from Hera that might be able to hold this position for a while longer. Hera's army is still just 21. I mean, for all of the vills he has and all the resources he has, I'm surprised there isn't more production. But castle is down on the right side for Vinch. One castle remains on top of the hill. Vinchester he's making one last big push with the rats, and those rat and archers are starting to get cleaned up. Vinch can see the writing on the wall, as can you guys. The GG comes in, and it will be Hera who grabs the win, Indians versus Vietnamese. And this was definitely a situation where Vinchester read out of a game Britons versus Mayans, and he read into a game of Vietnamese versus Indians. He really got bit badly by that restart. So we'll take a quick look at the achievements, and we'll jump into game number 4. This is a best of 5 series, so we'll see Hera winning in the next game, or we will see Vinchester winning in a decisive game number 5. Obviously, Hera with a lot of buildings torn down. The kill death was pretty similar for the two players. The economy, though, was a ridiculous difference at the very end of the game, 137 vills to 97. Vinch still was able to collect more stone and wood, somehow. But the food and gold production for Hera was miles ahead. So another great game. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I'll just quickly pop out of here and update the scoreboard as I sit here in this dark and lonely room. I'm starting to get hungry over here, boys. It's been a long day. Hera will grab a win there. So let's give him another point. He is team 1, and it will become 2-1. It will be an elimination game here in match number 4. 2-1. Will we see the last game now, says Snapes. Absolutely possible. Hera saving up for elephants, I hope, says Nobody. Hey guys, if you want to check out Nobody's YouTube channel, you can do it here. You guys, if you've been here for a while, got to hear some really great analysis from Nobody in the interim between some games, and that was absolutely a lifesaver. Orlu, thanks for the host a moment ago, and welcome Sixt, 24, and Sabotage. You guys are the most recent followers. So we go into the last game of the day. It's been a long day. I burned up a lot of energy. Well, could be the last game. We'll have to see if Hera can pull a win. We do still have 2 Rees left for Hera, and Vinch still has his veto. So we could see a very short recorded game here, or we could see the series end, or we could see it go to game 5. For now, we will launch into this match. It will be Jackin, Hera, playing in the blue as the Celts, Vinchester as the Saracens. Vinch has no Rees left. He might consider reeing out of this game because he does have Saracens versus Celts, but I don't know. It's probably not worth using a re on these settings, even if Vinch had one. For Hera's point of view, I don't see a lot of good reasons to call re here. At least at first blush to me, as long as the map is okay, I'm pretty happy to play Celts on Arabia. But let's see. Let's see how it looks. Blue player is going to be Hera. He's going to have a main gold behind him. Kind of a weird main gold that creates a nice little square. Does have an extra gold pile in the back. Wood line for Hera beside his TC is pretty good. The one on the front is a little bit of a reach for him to try to take. Stone on the side, so if he wants to go into woods later, he's going to have to control that part of the map pretty nicely. Extra stone for Hera is up in the north of the map. Hera's got a very open map here. I think his Civ is fine. I think the situation is fine, but he may go for a re. I don't know. Vinch on the other side is playing as the Saracens. Vinchester is going to have a wood line behind his TC. It's pretty far from the town center, but not too bad. Gold here is kind of awkward as well. Doesn't feel like a great map at first blush, but a little bit of gold in the back pocket. Berries behind the TC. Stone in the back there. Maybe there is a way for Vinch to take these resources and protect them. We've seen Vinch... outside of game number 1, we've seen Vinch playing pretty defensively in this series. If he wants to wall up and defend this map, it's going to be a little bit of work. It's going to be hard, actually. But let's see. Let's wait and see. We approach the 4-minute mark. If players want to call a re, they still can. And I will remind you guys, it's the KillerB's Arabia Cup. It's, what are we at? We're at June, I think. I think it's June 2018. Maybe you're watching this 40 years in the future. Maybe I'm dead as you're hearing this. Oh, God.
I see dead people.
Maybe. Oh, wow. That got morbid quick. Yeah, I was having a great time on the KillerB channel, and then it got dark, man.
I see dead people.
4 vills on the back wood line for the Saracens player. Might be thinking about early aggression. Couple of stolen sheep for the moment for Vinch. Hera is out in the middle of the map finding some sheep. I think those are... Whose sheep are those? Those sheep are in no man's land. Maybe they were already partially stolen. Looks like the blue player will grab those 2 sheep, and that will give him, I think, all of his sheep. Maybe Vinchester will also have the right number of sheep when he finds those ones up in the north of the map. So after a little bit of attempting to lame, I guess nothing really happened. Is this where your boar was, just to start things off? WTF, man. We didn't see the scout stealing that boar. I have no idea why Hera's boar is that far forward. But hey, it is what it is. Player in blue Hera does have loom, did scout block, and is fine to get his boar back home safely. The old KBAC. Yeah, we started the day at 12 GMT with Project Belgium. We saw some great games between Doubt and Say My Name. At 14 GMT, we brought in Willis, and we saw some great games there. Ooh, and we see a boar steal coming. We had Nobody giving some great analysis in the intermission. And at 16 GMT, we had Ornlu. But now you guys are just stuck with me and my soundboard. The soundboard here is great. It really gives us an opportunity to bring the voices that we all know and love into the game. I'm not that great at choosing the right sound bites, but I don't know. Some of them are nice. I really like to just have the Viper singing to me once in a while.
It's my love story, baby, just say yes.
I wonder if that would embarrass him if I just played that like on loop at the next meetup. We've got a lot of Viper and MBL on here. MBL does great with his... He's like a machine of creating great quotes.
It's a miracle I'm alive still.
It's a miracle I'm alive still. I really think that that's extremely useful. We've got Doubt's hype song now on the board.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Oh, Doubt bringing us back to the 1970s with Staying Alive. You guys need to watch that video. It is ridiculous. The mustaches alone are worth the click. Okay, so Hera is a little bit off balance on his eco. He's going to be fine. He's chewing through the sheep instead of the boar right now because Vinch kind of half stole his boar. Ultimately, Hera will get out and grab it, but he won't be chewing it till the feudal age. It is a 21 villager up with loom for Hera at exactly 8 minutes. Oh no. Oh no, this is not good. This type of thing can happen to you. Hera trying to do the old house trick. This kind of thing can happen to you in this situation. You're so much later than your normal practice to grab that boar that you forget to send your villager back to the town center, and that is really not ideal for Hera. Hera's uptime is fine. He had a very nice Dark Age, maybe 2 seconds of TC idle if you want to get super detailed about it, but he had a great feudal age. Just forgot to micro that fill. Let's see. Hera just stole the boar with his villager. Vince tried to steal back one of Hera's boars. Okay. Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah, Hera did steal a boar there. No, wait. Hera couldn't have stolen a boar there. With that, did he steal it with the vill? Oh, okay, okay. Kind of a complicated situation. Yeah, I do see 3 boar carcasses under the TC. The scout does not have enough damage to have done the steal, but I guess that villager came out and grabbed the boar on the front. Does seem like the case. Does seem like the case, guys. We are now 9 hours deep into this stream. Oh my God. Oh God. Let's see. 2 militia forward for Hera. 3rd militia is on the way. Men-at-Arms upgrade is coming in. Oh boy. There's no reason for that house to be there unless there's a villager coming along with this. It's interestingly going to be 1 vill, I guess, coming forward for Hera. Man-at-Arms upgrade is coming. Vinchester hits the feudal age now. Vinch is up on 23 vills. And Vinchester, as the Saracens, is he going archers? I would assume. I mean, he was on gold with 5 vills, but now the men-at-arms arrive. And Vinch may have to go to plan B. Not exactly sure what Vinch is going to produce next, but he needs to get some buildings down. There's the archery range coming for Vinch. He will have 1 militia out to try to slow this down. We will see an old-fashioned forward, I guess, with an archery range coming from Hera. Hera's got a couple men-at-arms. They are roaming to the back wood line. We'll see if the red player Vinch can hold on against this. Vinch certainly has enough for another range. Does need to reestablish his gold economy soon, or else, of course, he's going to have to pump skirms instead of archers. 2 villagers dead in the back for Vinch, and maybe a 3rd and maybe a 4th. Maybe a 4th villager. Oh, God.
I see dead people.
Oh, God, that is really painful. After Hera blundered a vill on his boar, I was thinking Vinch is a bit ahead. Vinch is going for double ranges. But unfortunately, Mr. Vinchester sustaining a ton of damage. Is he going to lose another vill? Run, lady, run. Get home. So much idle time, eco damage, and 4 dead vills. 4. Okay, that hurts a lot. That hurts a lot. Celts player is rolling forward. Double archery ranges in the middle of the map for Hera. Hera is nicely farming up back at home. He's not taking a whole lot of gold, so it's not as though he's going to pump double range archers in this case. It's double range skirms. Those skirms are going to cause problems for Vinch. Vinch just barely won back his main gold and will tower it. But of course, Vinch is kind of, well, he's unaware of the skirms coming his way, so he's building archers, and it could be uncomfortable for him in a minute. Those first couple skirms are arriving. Vinchester for now is still quite fine. He's still trying to clean up those men-at-arms from Hera, but the 4 vill disadvantage is really the big, that's the really big fly in the ointment right now. Dubastall is giving the Vinch sad face. Well, Vinch is in a must-win situation, and he is in trouble. He is in trouble. If you guys have any power to give to Vinchester now, now would be a good time. Blue player has double range skirms still coming out. He will have a good number of those down without fletching. Those units will start to roll forward, and they'll do nicely to keep the archers of Vinchester at bay for now. Villager for the blue player Hera roaming around, building up some outposts, trying to find, I don't know, maybe an advantageous situation to drop down a tower on this side. Not sure, but Hera's going Town Watch and for a couple of outposts, very similar to the way MBL played versus Stark in the past series, getting a ton of map coverage. More vision is always better than less vision. Double wood lines on the back for the Celts player, still just 1 villager on gold. We'll see Hera grab fletching, but of course a slow grind toward the castle age for him. Vinch has a very similar situation, not a lot of resource in the bank, has had a couple villagers sniped and is a couple villagers behind. Vinch is still holding on for dear life here, but he's got his resources kind of spread out a bit. It's a little awkward for him to have this wood line to try to defend and the berry patch because his opponent's going full skirm and Vinch does not have a stable to deal with those skirms. Archers from Vinch, though, do sneak out, and this might be a good way to equalize the match. Oh, God. How is it possible that Hera is already dropping down a prophylactic tower exactly where I wanted these archers to go? Notably, Vinch did not scout Hera's map at all. But if you did scout and you did know, coming to this back wood line would be nice. But Now there's a tower. Now there's a tower coming up for Hera, and Hera is starting to take what was a small advantage and put it into a little bit of a bigger advantage. Grabbing down another Vil there is taking down a couple of skirms. Archers did roll in for Vinch. They did avoid TC arrow fire, and they did grab a Vil. So it's a 5 villager difference for now. Vinchester does have a little teeth to his army here. Can grab a few more Vils before Hera gets out of dodge. So maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. Vinch bringing some Vils into the fray to poke away at these couple of skirms. Vinchester's number of skirms on this side is small, but I think he's all right. I think he's all right to push back the skirms for now. We need to see some damage from Vinch if we want to see another match, because if we don't see some damage soon, I think it's possible that Hera could close this one out. Vinchester rolling ever closer toward that really gushy part of the map for Hera. Hera is going to take 129 gold for now and have to hide into his TC. So Hera's gold economy gets beaten up, but he does not lose a Vil there just yet. Blue player is also trying to get some aggression in. Hera's trying to snipe some Vils and annoy the economy of Vinch on the front. Vinch has yet to grab a Vil on the gold, but there he goes. Did grab one on the farm, and now he grabs a villager on the back gold. These 5 archers from Vinch, who is maybe one of the best micro players in the game. Those 5 archers continue to cause problems for Hera. Hera is still annoying the back of Vinchester's economy. It's a 5 villager difference still at this point in the game. And it looks like we will see a little retreat action from both sides. Let's take a moment here and speed it up just a tad. We'll play a little Benny Hill. This is my favorite drop anyway. A little yakety sax. I think it's a little more effective when you're going at like 80 or 90% speed, but you know, giving you guys a little flavor here of the channel. It is going to be Vinchester standing and fighting with these skirms. Does have +1/+1. Hera has just the +1 damage upgrade. So Hera's skirms are a little weaker, but they're a bit more numerous. So they will roll a little closer to this economy. Hera is going to get in. Vinch is going to have to abandon his stone pile on the back. And look at this. A couple of wolf kills for you guys. You T90 fans out there, you're going to get at least that archer dying to a wolf, I believe. This archer is going to die the old-fashioned way to javelin fire. So both players continue to, well, I was about to say fight it out in the feudal age, but it will be Hera clicking up now to castle. Vinch is on the way to wheelbarrow. I think Vinch will click up pretty soon as well. But of course, Vinchester's economy has been harassed until the cows come home. He's taken a lot of harassment and annoyance. And really having less villagers than Hera for, I don't know, 10 minutes of game time. So Vinch will click up. He'll try to make a go of it here in the castle age. But Hera is going to probably have more resources and the earlier castle time. Vinch is going to need a really stellar defense in order to hold this position. That 1 man-at-arms lived for 10 minutes, and he's being annoying the whole time. Yeah, absolutely. Skirmishers here, they didn't pick like a ton of Vils, but they killed a bunch of skirms. They made Vinch basically react, and a lot of villagers here have been chasing skirmishers for more time than they really wanted to. Stable comes in for the Celts player. He will go scale barding armor now, and we will see Hera with some nice map control, and well, we'll see him maybe add in a couple of knights as he hits the castle age. Second stable is coming down, maybe not too surprising to you guys. It looks like Hera is going to invest all he's got into a double stable knight push for a while. Not exactly saving up wood to try to go for a TC or a boomy sort of a strategy. It seems like double stable knights immediately will be breathing down the neck of this economy. And of course, Vinchester has just skirmishers to play with. So Vinch is in full retreat, and he's probably going to have to figure out some way to protect, for instance, this back wood line and that back wood line as well. More towers coming from Vinch. He's going to have to play very defensively here for several minutes. He has still not clicked up to the castle age, but oh, there it is. So Vinch clicking to castle, Hera reaching castle. Hera with +1 defense on his knights. Those knights will soon be +2, and they will run directly into the back of the eco once they get the chance. Very, very difficult position for Vinch. His archers are denied any access to the defensive role because of all the skirmishers out. The first couple knights from Hera do start to roll in toward this eco. They haven't really found any serious damage yet, but we do have some villagers from Vinchester inside of the TC. 16 idols right now for Vinch. Skirmishers can be extremely useful here. They can pick down some of these pikemen and make it a lot easier for the knights to do their raiding thing. We will see the blue player using what he can, getting what damage that he can as he micros away from the pointy boys. Knights continuing to come in 2 by 2. This is a terrible position for Vinch, and Vinchester will give the GG in game number 4, and we will see Hera advance on to the next round. We'll talk about brackets here in a moment, guys, but the GG is in, and Hera has punched his ticket to the live semifinal tomorrow, Sunday, and we will see him play at 12 GMT. We'll talk about the brackets and the co-casters and the setup in just a moment, but first, let's recap this game. It was a villager dead to a boar on this side that I thought would give Vinch a nice advantage, but ultimately, Hera got in with some men-at-arms and really just diced up the economy of Vinchester. It's just one of those games where you lose too much early on and you just never have a real good road back. So a nice win there for Hera. Vinchester will be eliminated from contention here in the round of 8. And we will take a quick look at the achievements, and then I will honor Snape's request. I will go pass out. I'm not that tired, but my voice is starting to really die. Really die. Okay, nothing real major in the achievements jumps out at me. It was just those 4 vills from Vinch that died on the backwood line. Unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of a road back for him after that point. So we jump out of here, guys, and we take a quick look at